A foolish person who hasn't even finished high school is studying traditional Chinese medicine hard to find a way out. Unexpectedly, he has broken through a sky and stirred up the entire apricot forest world. See how he uses traditional Chinese medicine to treat people, and see if he can use traditional Chinese medicine to treat them. All medical cases in the book are based on the analysis of real medical cases, and readers can only understand their reasoning and cannot blindly apply it. Keywords of the novel. Li Maoyang, a rural traditional Chinese medicine practitioner with no pop-ups. Download the complete collection of Li Maoyang's TXT, and read the latest chapters of Li Maoyang, a rural traditional Chinese medicine practitioner. Chapter 1. Traditional Chinese Medicine Apprentice Without Master. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Traditional Chinese Medicine Apprentice Without Master. Dukkha Village, Maoyang Town, Hatao. This is a Mongolian Han settlement area. Mid-March in spring, after 9 o'clock in the morning. Little doctor. Little doctor. I'll buy a box of Lishong pills. Kikij, a 26-year-old Mongolian daughter.in.law, arrived at the only clinic in the village and called out in front of the rudimentary counter. No one answered her. Behind the counter, a 21-year-old young man named Li Maoyang was holding a slightly rustled copy of the Yellow Emperor's Inner Canon, gritting his teeth as he read it. Kikij waited for a moment, and her round and simple white face furrowed its curved eyebrows before whispering again, "Doctor. Doctor. I'll buy a box of Lishong pills. It's gone." Young man Li Maoyang took the Yellow Emperor's Inner Canon out of his eyes and said to Chichiga, "That's not it." Kikij pointed to the only 2 boxes of Lishong pills left on the rudimentary medicine rack and said, "Not for sale," said Li Maoyang. "Why not sell it?" Chichi raised her eyebrows and asked. "I can't sell it," said Li Maoyang. "I won't tell anyone," Kikij said. She knew that selling medicine also required a certificate. The doctor in his 80s at this clinic had just passed away in a few years, and when he was there, he turned a blind eye. Now that he had passed away, the young man who had just studied medicine with him for over a year was in charge of this clinic, and he really had no qualifications to sell medicine. But this place is more than 60 miles away from the town. If you cross the river to buy medicine in Luyuan County, it will be even further away. Moreover, the floating bridge has been cut off by the Yellow River spring flood, and there is no way to go to Luyuan County by boat. "I can't sell it without telling others," Li Maoyang said without letting go. "And it's not my problem, it's because you don't have a prescription from a doctor. Look at the wall, see it. I passed my medical qualification exam." Kikij heard Li Maoyang say this and looked up at the wall. Sure enough, she saw a doctor's practice certificate pasted on the wall. Hey! This young man hasn't even finished high school and has only just studied medicine with his teacher for over a year. How did he get into the medical examination? You have evidence, why didn't I know? Kikij asked in surprise. Just got it. Li Maoyang tilted his head and said, "From now on, we will be an official doctor." He served as an apprentice for over 3 years at the second master, who was the chief physician of the municipal traditional Chinese medicine hospital. He worked hard to memorize medical books for over 2 years, and relied on the set of simulated exam questions that the second master had provided him with to fiercely practice. He also studied medicine with Sheng Daike, an old Chinese medicine practitioner from Shirben village, for over a year, and finally obtained this extremely valuable physician practice certificate. It was really not easy. So you have proof, why don't you sell me medicine? Kikij asked. No, if you want to buy medicine, you must have a doctor's prescription. Li Maoyang gritted to death. In fact, you don't need a doctor's prescription to buy a box of traditional Chinese patent medicines and simple preparations, but Li Maoyang doesn't sell medicine to Kikij. Can you show me what kind of illness you have? Kikij hesitated for a while and said. The young man in front of me has just taken over this small clinic from the son of an old doctor. It has only been a few days since it was opened. I heard that he has a secret rule now. On the surface, whoever has a doctor's prescription will sell medicine to him, but in reality, whoever asks him to see a doctor will also prescribe medicine. Apart from these two situations, he will not sell medicine to anyone else. Kikij is very suspicious of this young man's medical skills. In fact, he has only been under his teacher for over a year. What medical skills can he learn? But there's no way, if you want to buy medicine from him, you have to ask him to see a doctor, and she doesn't have a prescription in her hand. That's good. Li Maoyang put down the book in his hand. Here, I'll show you. Then Kikij saw Li Maoyang, a young man who immediately became enthusiastic. He opened his white teeth and smiled, carrying a small pulse pillow to the diagnosis table on the side of the counter. He placed the pillow on the table and said, "Come on, extend your arm, I'll give you a pulse number." Kikij sat down helplessly in front of the diagnosis table, flicking her arm sleeve and extending her arm onto the small pulse pillow. The small pulse pillow is pitch black and looks like an antique, just like a diagnosis table. Li Maoyang identified Chichiga's left and right hands, carefully extending 3 fingers. He found the vein at the protruding radius with his middle finger, which is the close part, and then gently placed his index finger on the inch part and his ring finger on the ulnar part. I immediately felt my pulse, jumping. Besides, it's difficult to determine what pulse it is. However, don't worry about it. Anyway, let's put on the appearance first. Master said, just pretend and learn. Of course, we can still count the speed of the pulse. Li Maoyang closed his eyes and adjusted his breathing. First, count how many pulse beats between each breath. It seems like jumping 5 times in one breath, right? Well, 1 breath and 5 solstices, counting the pulse, right? Qi Huang is big. The patient counts their pulse. Li Maoyang closed his eyes, rolled his eyes backwards, and shouted into his mind. The host diagnosis is incorrect. A mechanical sound immediately came from his mind. This is the sound of the so-called Qi Huang system that entered his brain a few days ago. Li Maoyang strongly suspects that this is the intangible computer spirit that remained in the universe during the peak period of highly developed human development on Earth. They were originally wandering in the universe, known as the cosmic brain, but couldn't resist loneliness and entered the human body. Anyway, no matter what it is, this system calls itself the Qi Huang system. This Qi Huang system has set a rule for him. Among the 4 diagnoses, as long as he says one diagnosis correctly, this Qi Huang system can help him deduce his medication efficacy in advance. It is precisely because of this coercion that he dares to shut down the only clinic in this fairy village, otherwise he wouldn't have done such crazy things. I'm not right now, it's a waste of an opportunity. In each diagnosis, the Qi Huang system only gives him 1 chance, and if he says it's not right, it's a waste. But the pulse still needs to be set, and pretending also requires biting teeth and pretending. Li Maoyang opened his eyes and looked at Kikij. Don't be nervous. It must have been this Mongolian daughter-in-law who was nervous just now, afraid that he might harm her, that's why her pulse started beating faster, otherwise he wouldn't have counted wrong. Don't be nervous. Kikij's curved eyebrows trembled slightly and whispered. Li Maoyang began to inspect Kikij, and then he suddenly remembered and asked, by the way, are you buying medicine for yourself? No, it's for my mother-in-law. Li Maoyang's cheek twitched a few times and said, do you feel any discomfort? No. With a bad mood of wanting to curse, Li Maoyang let go of Kikij's arm and said with a dark face, you can go somewhere else to buy medicine. Kikij became anxious and her temper suddenly grew. She reached out and slapped the table, her curved eyebrows standing up. Doctor. My mother-in-law has severe bloating and pain, and Bartle is not here. I have to take care of both my mother-in-law and son. How could I have time to go to town to buy medicine? Did a doctor show your mother-in-law? Li Maoyang asked. No, there's no doctor around here, Kikich said. But last time I had bloating and pain, the old doctor prescribed the Li Zhongwan for me, which worked very well. You are you, your mother.in.law is your mother.in.law. How can you take medicine recklessly? Alright, I'll go show your mother.in.law. Well. Okay, Kikich hesitated for a moment. Are you still unwilling? I'm better than you, right? Li Maoyang said angrily. No, the old doctor who prescribed medicine for me last time. Kikich hesitated. Li Maoyang was speechless, like the shadow of a tree in a person's name. Even the deceased master was stronger than the living Li Maoyang. No, taking medicine when sick is a matter of one person managing one person, one disease managing one disease. Li Maoyang could only patiently explain. Then he carried on his back the medicine box left by his master, which contained a stethoscope, a blood pressure monitor, a needle box and other small pieces of medical equipment, as well as several boxes of traditional Chinese patent medicines and simple preparations, including Li Zhongwan. Kikich came by electric bike, and Li Duanyang got on his motorcycle and followed Kikich all the way towards her house. It's only a 3 or 4 mile road, and you'll be there in a little while. In front of Kikich's courtyard, there is Haymur, also known as the Luma wind flag in Chinese. It is said that Genghis Khan held this flag high when he led his army to conquer the western Xia in Hubei. Later, Genghis Khan was buried in Hubei. In order to commemorate him, the Mongolian people imitated his flag and weapons and erected them in front of their homes. They worshipped during festivals every year, and over time, this Luma wind flag became popular. The yard is very clean, and now it is the chilly season of spring. Kikich's mother.in.law, who is in her 60s, is wearing a big cotton jacket and a suede hat, sitting in the yard, taking care of her 3 or 4-year-old grandson who can already run around the yard. Sai by now. Auntie. Li Maoyang bowed slightly to the old man and greeted him. Sai by now means hello in Mongolian. Sai, Sai. The old man nodded weakly. This means good, good. In addition to practicing medicine, writing a novel about traditional Chinese medicine will enrich everyone's knowledge structure. There will be a large number of knowledge points about traditional Chinese medicine, and colleagues in traditional Chinese medicine are welcome to criticize. Book enthusiasts who feel like they haven't read enough can also go and see Reborn Doctor. Only I Can Heal You, or The Golden Finger of a Rural Physician. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Practice of 4 Diagnostic Methods. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Practice of 4 Diagnostic Methods. Auntie, did Kikich say you're feeling unwell? Li Maoyang asked Kikich's mother.in.law again. This sentence is actually somewhat nonsensical. However, Li Maoyang mainly wanted to hear the old lady's voice again. Just now, he heard the old lady speak weakly and clearly lacked breath. He wanted to confirm again. In the process of observing, smelling, questioning, and cutting, the 3 consultations are often conducted simultaneously. During the consultation, one observes the patient's body shape, face, and expression, as well as listens to the patient's vocal characteristics and sniffs the odor in their mouth and body. The old lady nodded slightly without speaking. Let's go inside the house. Kikich picked up her son and said to Li Maoyang, while reaching out to help her mother.in.law. After entering the house and sitting on the sofa, Kikich poured a cup of milk tea for Li Maoyang, and then sat on the sofa with the 3 of them facing each other. This marked the official start of the diagnostic procedure. To be honest, Li Maoyang felt somewhat anxious at this moment. He had only been with his master for over a year before losing his master, which made him feel so anxious. Fortunately, he still had a reliable safeguard in his mind, the Qi Huang system. Otherwise, relying on his current level to treat people would be a blind dog watching the stars. For example, until now, during the observation and smelling process, he had not seen much diagnostic information from Kikij's mother.in.law. The old man's face was a bit pale, as if there was no blood. However, Li Maoyang cannot be certain. The three principles of traditional Chinese medicine diagnosis are constant balance, understanding the subtle, and grasping the internal. However, who knows how this elderly person usually looks? What if the elderly always stay indoors and have such a pale face? It's not easy to judge that the old man is currently suffering from a great loss of qi and blood based on this expression. Speaking of smelling and diagnosing, Li Maoyang could tell that the old lady was speaking weakly, and he could no longer detect any other abnormalities in her voice. Smell examination also includes olfactory examination, but he did not smell any abnormal odor from the old lady's body or mouth and nose. Let's take a look at the old man's tongue first. Tongue examination is also a part of observation. Li Maoyang thought to his wife and said, "Auntie, you stick out your tongue and let me take a look." A suspicious gaze swept through the old woman's eye socket, and she turned to look at her daughter.in.law Kikij. When Kikij nodded, she opened her mouth and extended her tongue. Li Maoyang quickly stretched his neck and approached to observe. Is this tongue like a pale tongue with white coating? He stared nervously at the old man's tongue, judging. A normal person's tongue should have a light red tongue with thin white coating. This standard is easy to remember, but the key is to make a specific judgment. How to calculate it as light red? How light red is considered light red? How to calculate thin white? How thin is white? It's not easy to identify, it's all vague concepts without a clear boundary, and judgment also needs to be based on the patient's usual situation. Li Maoyang complained in his heart and quickly gathered his energy to judge again. The old man was already feeling tired with his tongue extended, and it was impossible for him to hesitate for a long time. Okay, even if it's a pale tongue with white coating. I feel like the old man's tongue doesn't have much blood color, so it doesn't belong to a healthy person's tongue. In addition, this moss should be considered white, not thin white, right? Of course, it should not have reached the level of whiteness yet. Li Maoyang thought this way, calmed down, and slightly turned his eyes back to the Qi Huang system in his mind, saying, the patient's tongue is pale with white coating. Based on this, it should be spleen deficiency combined with qi and blood deficiency. The host's diagnosis is basically correct, and you will receive a reward for the efficacy deduction of this system. A mechanical sound immediately came to your mind, which sounded much softer. Of course, it could also be Li Maoyang's own illusion. At this moment, his mood was uplifted, and naturally any sound sounded pleasant. But he quickly warned himself to be cautious and persevere, as a systematic deduction opportunity may not necessarily lead him to use the right medicine for patients. Next is consultation. Before the consultation, Li Maoyang silently recited the consultation formula in his heart. 1 question is about cold and heat, 2 questions are about sweat, 3 questions are about the head and body, 4 questions are about bowel movements, 5 questions are about diet, 6 breasts and abdomen, 7 questions are about hearing loss and 8 questions are about thirst, 9 questions are about old diseases and 10 questions are about the causes, and then combined with medication to promote changes in the body. Women especially need to ask about their menstrual period, as it can be seen that they will die if they are too late or too fast. Add another message to pediatrics. All cases of smallpox and measles have been tested. Well, there's no need to ask about the menstrual period here, after all, this elderly person is already over 60 years old. Auntie, are you afraid of the cold? Li Maoyang began to ask in the order of the rhymes. Otherwise, he might forget to ask which one. He quickly took out his phone and opened his own medical record file in WPS to prepare for recording. I'm afraid of the cold, don't you see my mother.in.law dressed so thick? Kikij said on the side. While secretly rolling his eyes, he thought to himself, is there any need to ask? So, are you sweating on your body? Li Maoyang continued, ignoring Kikij's expression. Is that okay? She'll be sweating all over in a while, and she's so hot that she wants to take off 2 clothes. I won't let her take them off, Kikij said again. Li Maoyang suddenly felt a wave of confusion. What was this situation? Are you afraid of the cold, feeling hot, and sweating frequently? He was originally asking in the order of the rhymes, but he didn't expect to come up with such a big monster. My aunt, how can this be messed up? Li Maoyang's head grew bigger for a while, and then he suspected that Kikij was playing with him, an inexperienced newcomer in the medical industry. Looking up at Kikij, she noticed that he had a serious expression on his face, and it was obvious that he was not playing with him. Besides, she couldn't play with him due to her mother-in-law's illness. Do you have a headache? Li Maoyang could only continue to ask, Kikij, don't say it. I want to hear the old man say it himself. He was afraid that Kikij might not be accurate, and at the same time, he wanted to hear the voice of the elderly again. Pain, the old man weakly rubbed his head. The voice was still very weak, as if unable to pick up the sound. The words sigh, sigh, she said in the yard earlier couldn't make any sound. Qi deficiency, Li Maoyang has been diagnosed with this. Thinking this way, his mind suddenly lit up and he had some ideas about the previous problem. The elderly have yang deficiency, so they are afraid of the cold, and their body surface defense qi is also weak, unable to retain body fluids, so they sweat a lot. As for body heat, sweat is already body fluid in the body. Sweating too much will inevitably damage the yin. Isn't it possible to feel hot when yin deficiency occurs? So these symptoms may seem contradictory, but they are dialectically unified within the contradiction. Next, under continuous questioning, Li Maoyang gradually wrote down a long list of symptoms in his medical record. Lack of appetite, bloating, fatigue, frequent wheezing, hot and sweaty body, headache and chills, frequent urination, and prolonged diarrhea. Then a logical line gradually pulled out of his mind. Eating less and bloating in the abdomen indicates weakness in the spleen and stomach, which leads to poor circulation of qi and blood, resulting in fatigue, frequent wheezing, headaches, and chills. Which is why both yin and yang are deficient. Yin and yang are deficient, and the body is hot and sweaty, forming a vicious cycle. However, what is the reason for frequent urination and prolonged diarrhea? As he was pulling the logical line, a question mark popped up in Li Maoyang's mind. Frequent urination can also be said to be due to yang deficiency and inability to absorb urine, so frequent urination is necessary. However, what is the meaning of prolonged diarrhea? Li Maoyang realized that he might have missed something during the consultation, or perhaps not asked clearly and accurately, or perhaps it was due to the elderly person's unclear expression. Alone hiding traitors, where exactly is the problem? Li Maoyang pondered hard. I feel like there might be some mystery hidden inside, but he can't ask Kikij and the old man anymore. The two of them have become quite impatient. Because Li Maoyang's master never asks people so much when he sees a doctor. He usually looks at his face, looks at his tongue, and then sets up his pulse. It seems like he just asks a few questions before prescribing medicine. After prescribing the medicine, the general patient's illness usually improves within a few days. So there are quite a few people from all over the country who come to see his master for medical treatment. Li Maoyang now thinks that his master may have died of exhaustion, or he might have lived to be 100 years old. A few days before passing away, he was still sick. But master, he is too light-handed and doesn't even ask for medical fees from others. He can give as much as the patient wants. Because of this, his master was also poor for a lifetime, so his sons and grandchildren were unwilling to learn medicine from him. He was the only one who dropped out of high school before finishing his studies, Li Maoyang. He couldn't find a way out, so he followed the elderly to study medicine. However, after just over a year of studying with him, he drove to the west. The world is too bitter, I hope his family can live peacefully and happily in the western sky. Thank you to all book enthusiasts for voting and supporting. The new book period requires the care of all book enthusiasts. Investment, collection, tickets, and comments are all required. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Consultation with Second Grandpa. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Consultation with Second Grandpa. Li Maoyang sighed in his heart, then pondered and said to the Qi Huang system, the conclusion of the consultation is that the patient should have a deficiency of qi and blood, which is the deficiency of yin and yang, mainly spleen deficiency. The host's consultation conclusion is too general and did not get to the point, the mechanical voice said. Please continue with the next consultation. Li Maoyang stood there for a moment, thinking to himself that something was wrong with me. That long diarrhea must be hiding some secret. However, he couldn't figure out the reason for this prolonged diarrhea at the moment. We have to continue with the next consultation. His most headache-inducing pulse diagnosis. Auntie, let me feel your pulse for you. Li Maoyang took out a pulse pillow from the medicine box and placed it on the coffee table, saying to Grandma Kikij. Kikij smoothed her mother-in-law's sleeves, and the old man stretched out his arm and placed it on the pulse pillow. Li Maoyang carefully placed 3 fingers on the old man's pulse, closed his eyes, and began to feel it. It takes about half a cup of tea time for Li Maoyang to feel his pulse with his left and right hands. He closed his eyes, rolled his eyeballs back, and said to the Qi Huang system in his mind, the conclusion of pulse diagnosis is that the patient has a weak pulse. A person with weak pulse and a feeling of emptiness when pressed down with their fingers generally indicates a deficiency syndrome. Combining the 3 diagnostic methods of looking, smelling, and asking earlier, he can still perceive such a broad direction in the pulse. Please ask the host to provide specific pulse patterns. A mechanical sound came from his mind. Well, deficiency pulse is a general term for powerless pulse, reflecting the characteristics of insufficient pulse force in fine pulse, moistening pulse, scattered pulse, short pulse, micropulse, etc. It's just nourishing the pulse. Li Maoyang drew lots in his heart. The host answered incorrectly, please provide your prescription. This system can help the host deduce the efficacy once, said the mechanical voice. Li Maoyang was somewhat disappointed upon hearing this. There is only one chance of trial and error, and his diagnosis is not accurate enough. Based on this diagnostic conclusion, can he prescribe precise medication for patients? However, there was no other choice but to grit my teeth and prescribe a prescription. I prescribed Li Zhongwan to the patient. Li Maoyang's tone was weak and he spoke in a hollow voice. He felt that only Li Zhongwan seemed to match the diagnosis of the old lady's illness. Is Li Zhongwan also beneficial for tonifying the spleen? Its formula is ginseng, atractylodes macrocephala, dried ginger, and licorice. But as soon as he spoke it out, he suddenly felt something was wrong. The patient is deficient in both yin and yang. These herbs have more warmth than yang, but they are insufficient in nourishing yin. But it's already too late. Sure enough, the deduction result of this system. Liz Hongwan has the effects of warming the middle and dispelling cold, tonifying qi and strengthening the spleen, but it does not have much therapeutic effect on the patient's condition. Instead, it will consume yin and damage fluids, exacerbating the patient's condition. Please reconsider, host. The mechanical sound of the Qi Huang system is objective and cold. It's over, barbecue. This time, we can only ask second grandpa through video. Li Maoyang sighed in his heart, this time it's really embarrassing to lose a lot of money. But there's really no other way, he still has to face Kikij and her mother-in-law with thick skin. I already have a prescription in my heart, but with a responsible attitude towards the elderly, for safety reasons, I'll ask my second uncle. Li Maoyang could only say this to Kikij. Who is your second uncle? Kikij asked. My second uncle is the chief physician of the municipal traditional Chinese medicine hospital. Chief physician. How old is this doctor? How old is he? My second uncle. How old do you think he should be? Li Maoyang retaliated and gave Kikij a white eye. My second uncle is my own second uncle, who is almost 70 years old this year. He was rehired by the municipal traditional Chinese medicine hospital. Do you understand? If his medical skills are not good, can he be rehired? That's the municipal traditional Chinese medicine hospital. Kikij dared not speak up. What Li Maoyang said is true. He is still very impressive as his second master, and he is also very popular in the city hospital. If it weren't for the busy farming work in his family, coupled with the Qi Huang system, Li Maoyang would have planned to go to his second master's place for further education. He is still willing to pull him around. If it weren't for him becoming his nominal master more than 3 years ago, he wouldn't have been able to inherit traditional Chinese medicine and take the medical qualification exam. Without this guarantee, he wouldn't have studied traditional Chinese medicine with Xing Dake, who had already passed away in his village. Otherwise, if he couldn't obtain a medical qualification certificate, wouldn't he be a blind person lighting a candle in vain? He didn't finish his studies, he just had to rely on learning traditional Chinese medicine to find a way out. Under the gaze of Kikij and her mother. Law, Li Maoyang began making video calls to his second uncle Li Zhongtong through WeChat. After fighting for a long time, his second uncle picked it up. Li Maoyang quickly told his second uncle about the situation he was currently facing. Despite his white hair and high spirits, his second uncle frowned and eventually agreed to give Kikij and her mother. Law a remote diagnosis. In addition to post-diagnosis, his second uncle went through the diagnostic procedure again and finally came to the conclusion that the spleen and stomach were weak and the middle qi was sinking. The treatment should use Buzhong Yi Qi Wan to regulate and nourish the spleen and stomach, replenish qi and elevate yang, and eliminate heat with sweetness and warmth. Of course, if conditions permit, it's better to use soup. For those who use soup, adding grass heads will just shake it up and sweep it up, so the soup will take effect the fastest. Xiaoyang, remember that decoction works the fastest, powder spreads the widest in the body, so the range of action is also the largest. Pills are the best for tackling difficulties. Xiaoyang, you dare not prescribe medication blindly now. Just exercise to diagnose and diagnose people. In the video, Li Zhongtong educated Li Maoyang, a great-grandson, and he was busy treating people. After speaking, he hung up the video. Li Maoyang scratched his head and pondered for a while, then suddenly opened up. No wonder the patient's old lady kept defecating and defecating. It was true that the sinking qi kept forcing feces and urine to flow down. Also, why does the Qi Huang system say that using Li Zhongwan has no therapeutic effect? Because Li Zhongwan does not have the effect of lifting yang and sinking. Moreover, Li Zhongwan does not have any therapeutic effect on tonifying yin, but instead consumes yin and damages fluids, so it cannot be used. Furthermore, from his previous consultation with the patient, he also deeply realized how experienced his second uncle was. With just a few words, he could clearly identify the patient's abdominal distension and pain as falling distension and pain, which provided the most powerful evidence for diagnosing depression of the middle qi. And he asked himself for a long time but still couldn't ask clearly. It seems that consultation is not that easy either. As for why this, bloating and pain, is the most powerful evidence of sinking of the middle qi, it is because the stomach lacks support from the middle qi due to the deficiency of the middle qi, leading to sagging. Western medicine calls this stomach prolapse. Also, he can understand why Buzhong Yi Qi Wan can elevate yang and lift depression. The formula of Buzhong Yi Qi Wan is made up of 8 herbs. Astragalus, honey roasted, licorice, honey roasted, Cotinopsis pilosula, Atractylodes macrocephala, stir-fried, Angelica sinensis, Simicifuga, Chaihu, and Chinpi. Among them, Huangqi, Chaihu, and Simicifuga all have the effect of promoting yang, so the entire Buzhong Yi Qi Wan naturally has the effect of promoting yang and sinking. Li Maoyang thought about it all over, and his heart suddenly became clear. At the same time, he felt that he had gained a lot of knowledge. "Dr. Li, can you prescribe medicine for my mother? In law. Kikij saw Li Maoyang standing in a daze and urged him. "Oh, I don't have any pills for invigorating the middle and invigorating the qi. Well, I just have something to go to town. I'll bring you some boxes." "Oh, yes, the decoction will work faster. Do you want a ready-made traditional Chinese patent medicines and simple preparations pill or a decoction? If you want a decoction, I'll bring you some herbs. You can boil them yourself. If the soup takes effect quickly, then let's take the soup." Kikij immediately made up her mind. She also understood that if he were to buy Chinese herbs, Li Maoyang might earn a little more money from it, but it was only right for him to earn some money after working so hard. "Okay," Li Maoyang said again, "your mother-in-law's illness will improve faster if she takes medicine, combines it with hot compress and massage. Could you please, Dr. Li?" Kikij said, "Why don't we have dinner first before going to town?" "No need, no need." Li Maoyang declined. "It's already noon, and Kikij is so busy that he hasn't started cooking yet. So when will he have to wait?" So Kikij just said a polite word. The Mongolian people are generally straightforward, but after living with the Han people for a long time, they have learned a set of thinking patterns from the Han people. Li Maoyang doesn't want to go home for dinner anymore, and he has to listen to his parents nagging him. Why don't he go to the town and have a couple of bowls of noodles? Then he called his mother and rode his motorcycle to town. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Difficulties in Traditional Chinese Medicine. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Difficulties in Traditional Chinese Medicine. Li Maoyang rode his motorcycle towards the town to the east, while his mind was filled with thoughts. As soon as a person turns 20, it seems that they will mature a lot immediately. Especially young people who have already entered society. The seemingly distant life events of getting married and starting a career, which used to be a big mess, seem to be right in front of us as soon as we pass 20. So Li Maoyang, who is 21 years old, now has a stronger sense of urgency. After wandering around in society for several years, he quickly understood what it means to not have a college diploma in this era. It means that no matter where you go or what you do, you will be looked down upon. Finding a job goes without saying, even blind dates and getting married can become a huge problem. Studying in college not only broadens your horizons and knowledge, but more importantly, obtaining that university diploma can be considered a qualified product of society, even if it is stamped by authoritative institutions. In the future, no matter where you go or what you do, this will be a stepping stone. People like Li Maoyang who don't have a college degree will naturally be considered as unqualified products in society, and his future life path will be even more difficult because of this. "I dropped out of high school because of my rebelliousness and ignorance, and now I have nowhere to buy this regret medicine." Fortunately, he also had a master named Second Master, who had studied medicine with a rural veteran like Xing Dake for over a year. Now, he has obtained a medical qualification certificate by inheriting traditional Chinese medicine. Becoming a rural doctor has become his only relatively bright path. Especially now that he has acquired the Qi Huang system, it is his biggest reliance for a comeback battle. But Li Maoyang became even more urgent as a result. Who knows if this inexplicable system will suddenly disappear one day, so he must take advantage of it and quickly move forward on the path of learning medicine. The most difficult part of learning traditional Chinese medicine is practice. After learning a lot of theory, it is nonsense if it is not related to reality. From this point of view, Li Maoyang feels that he and the traditional Chinese medicine students in the university are still fair and can still stand on the same starting line to compete. So now he especially cherishes every opportunity to see a doctor. When he learns the practical skills of 4 diagnosis, syndrome differentiation, massage, acupuncture and moxibustion, bone setting, and prescription, he will have a way out in this society. Nowadays, the biggest challenge facing Li Maoyang is the 4 diagnoses and syndrome differentiation, with pulse diagnosis being the most difficult. In this regard, he can even say that he has not even touched the door. Having studied medicine with Master Zhengdake for more than a year, his greatest achievement now is that he has learned some theories. Acupuncture and moxibustion is basically a beginner, and he has been able to get qi. Even pulse diagnosis is a pass, he can't even touch the door. In learning traditional Chinese medicine, pulse diagnosis is the most crucial part. As a doctor of traditional Chinese medicine, the most crucial thing is to rely on 3 fingers to eat. Before his master passed away, he encouraged him to take it slow and persevere in learning. Feeling his pulse and feeling it, he found his feelings. In Li Maoyang's view, the feeling that master said is similar to an intuition, even a spiritual sense, and it is really difficult to explain. Well, fortunately he has a Qi Huang system now. Although this system doesn't teach him how to feel his pulse, at least it will tell him if he feels it correctly, which is already a great help. To truly learn how to feel the pulse, it really requires accumulating experience and honing feelings over time. Until I hone an intuition like my master's. However, Li Maoyang now suspects that there should still be a shortcut to learning pulse diagnosis. That is practicing meditation. To truly reach the profound realm of pulse palpation, it is probably also necessary to cultivate. Master was also practicing in the last 2 years of his life, which was taught to him by a wandering Taoist. My master told him that cultivation is actually a way of health preservation, and there is no need to see it as magical. Cultivation will not make you immortal, but living for a few more years can achieve it. And his master also told him that in order to truly reach the profound realm of pulse palpation, it is really necessary to cultivate. How did ancient people discover meridians? They probably only discovered it when they reached the level of self-reflection through cultivation. Otherwise, meridians and other things cannot be discovered by ordinary people, because they cannot even be detected by the most advanced modern instruments. It should be like a flight path, only existing when there are planes flying, and not when there are no planes flying. When a person is alive, there is a movement of qi, and only then do meridians exist. When a person dies, without the movement of qi, meridians should no longer exist. Master regretted that he practiced too late and was too old to have the spiritual sense of cultivation. Therefore, after 2 years of cultivation, he only developed a slight sense of qi, but it was not helpful for his body. He encouraged Li Maoyang to give it a try to cultivate, and also taught him the cultivation methods taught by the Taoist to Li Maoyang. Li Maoyang also tried to practice intermittently for over a year, and now he has a slight sense of qi, but it has always been like a seed that cannot sprout. Qi is like a thread, and if it does not fade, it will not grow. Li Maoyang doesn't know where the problem lies, so he just remembered to practice meditation intermittently. Li Maoyang couldn't believe using this seemingly delicate seed of true energy to connect the Ren and Du meridians. In the traditional sense, unblocking the Ren and Du meridians refers to using true qi to pass through the Ren and Du meridians, rather than the circulation of qi in ordinary medicine. If not, it will cause pain, and ordinary qi naturally always flows through the Ren and Du meridians. Li Maoyang was so imaginative while riding his motorcycle towards the town, and it only took him over half an hour before he suddenly entered the town on his motorcycle. Maoyang town is not very large, with 2 long streets running east-west, 3 or 4 miles long. There are 5 short streets running north-south, connecting the 2 long streets running east-west. Stores, hotels, restaurants, pharmacies, hair salons, bookstores. Some shops on the street are also regular stores, and there are naturally 2 or 3 express delivery stores such as Xuanfa. So, the economy is still good. Small cars run all over the street, and aggressive off-road vehicles are also seen from time to time. Those like Li Maoyang who ride motorcycles into the town suddenly look like dirt sticks below. When he parked his motorcycle in front of a noodle shop and walked in with a figure of 1.8 meters to eat, the rustic and wild temperament from the village below was even more exposed. His gaze was left and right, as if he was the most amazing person in the world. In short, it's completely like being beaten up. If someone says he is studying traditional Chinese medicine, there will definitely be someone who, with his carefree demeanor, will persuade him to let go of traditional Chinese medicine as soon as possible. In everyone's impression, those who can become traditional Chinese medicine doctors must have a somewhat ethereal appearance, and at worst, they should have a scholar-like appearance, while Li Maoyang looks like a lazy and carefree person. After finishing 2 bowls of noodles, Li Maoyang rode his motorcycle straight to a pharmacy. It's the Jiukang pharmacy he often goes to. When he arrived at the pharmacy, he stopped his motorcycle and took a few steps to walk into the pharmacy. He was about to open his mouth and shout, "Brother Chiao, I'm here." However, he suddenly stopped as if he had been pinned down, and his mouth, which was about to open and shout, couldn't come out. "Be good, there is Chiao Guogua, the daughter of the pharmacy owner Chiao Chunwan." End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Why can't you urine? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Why can't you urine? Chiao Guogua, who was boiling medicine and reading at the pharmacy, stood up and looked at Li Maoyang, but didn't know what to call him. Li Maoyang is someone she knows. She was 1 year older than her in middle and high school, but she has never spoken to him before. It seems like a very difficult person to handle, dropping out before finishing high school. I heard that he is also studying medicine now, but Grandpa Zheng, who taught him, has passed away, and I don't know if he is still studying medicine. Because her father had also been with Grandpa Zheng for a period of time, this guy called her father Senior Brother Chiao when he met her father, making it difficult for her to say hello to him now. Why don't we just say hello? They've never talked to each other since. What medicine do you want? Chiao Guogua asked without addressing him. Where's your dad? Li Maoyang asked. Although Chiao Guogua is a beautiful girl who looks a bit like Mei Ting during her adolescence, Li Maoyang thinks it's best to buy medicine from her father. It's not easy to bargain with this girl. My dad has gone to see a doctor, said Chiao Guogua. How did you come back? Li Maoyang asked again. Isn't this girl currently studying at the School of Traditional Chinese Medicine in Qingcheng? It's already mid-March, so should school start early? Something's up, Chiao Guogua said vaguely, then asked Li Maoyang, do you want to buy medicine? Are you sick? Li Maoyang stared at Chiao Guogua with a slightly pale expression. With a face full of both qi and blood deficiency, coupled with Chiao Guogua returning home midway and taking medicine at the pharmacy, it was not difficult for Li Maoyang to guess this conclusion. Chiao Guogua picked up his book again and sat back by the medicine pot, ignoring Li Maoyang. I'll buy medicine, Li Maoyang said helplessly. Chaihu, Sisma, Ginseng, Atractylodes macrocephala, Angelica sinensis, and Jujube, each weighing 3 pounds. Chiao Guogua sat still and said, is this supposed to be accompanied by Buzhong E Chi Tang? I think we still need 4 more herbs, right? I have other medicines myself, said Li Maoyang. Before his death, Master planted herbs every year and also purchased some wild herbs. There are still many in the clinic, including Astragalus membranaceus, licorice, and ginger. As for tangerine peel, he also dried a lot of oranges every year. These herbs have now been inherited by Li Maoyang. Do you have a drug trading license? Chiao Guogua asked again. This is clearly making things difficult. To apply for a drug business license, one needs to have a pharmacist qualification certificate. Li Maoyang put in a lot of effort to obtain a medical qualification certificate. Where did he get a pharmacist qualification certificate? Master didn't have this thing before his death, let alone him. He also plans to discuss with Senior Brother Chiao about being affiliated with his pharmacy in a while. I don't know if it can be done. Can't I buy medicine for myself? Li Maoyang said angrily. Sure, doctor prescribes. I am a doctor myself, what doctor's prescription do I need? Li Maoyang said confidently. He has already obtained a medical qualification certificate, but his identity is different. Are you a doctor? Do you have a medical qualification certificate? Yeah, I just got it. Ah. Is it really fake? Of course it's true. It's hanging right in my clinic. Xiao Guogua looked at Li Maoyang with suspicion, his eyes full of distrust. If you don't have it on you, it doesn't count, she said after looking at Li Maoyang for a while. Li Maoyang was really at a loss for this girl for a while. It seems that his previous sentence, "Are you sick?" really angered this girl. It seems that this girl is really sick, and this sentence really touches on her sore spot. But Li Maoyang's question was not a joke about Xiao Guogua. He really thought she was sick, so he asked that question. It's all because he's used to being careless and carefree in his daily life. It's just a caring word, but when it comes out of his mouth, it makes people feel like they're making fun of them. Now a Mongolian old lady has a sinking of qi, which is quite serious. Her stomach is sagging. It was diagnosed by my second uncle, Dr. Li Zhongtong, the chief physician of the city hospital, through video diagnosis. He also prescribed the prescription. Why don't you sell me the medicine quickly? Li Maoyang patiently explained. There are only a few pharmacies in this town, and the other pharmacies often have incomplete medicines, so this Jiukang pharmacy of the Qiao family has more complete medicines. So we can't really upset Xiao Guogua. Besides, Li Maoyang doesn't want to provoke her either. So we can only patiently explain. Is that true? I'll tell you, Buzhong Yi Qi Tang can also cause problems when drinking, especially for older people who don't rely on medicine. Xiao Guogua stood up and walked towards the medicine rack. Don't cure someone for the sake of making a little money. No, can I not be serious about treating people? Ah. Did you show it to others yourself? Xiao Guogua hesitated after hearing this. What I showed at the beginning was not accurate, but later I asked my second uncle to diagnose it clearly through video, Li Maoyang explained helplessly. He truly admired this girl's seriousness. Xiao Guogua was about to dispense medicine for Li Maoyang when suddenly there was a commotion outside the pharmacy. Two people helped a man in his 50s and rushed into the pharmacy. Dr. Qiao. Is Dr. Qiao here? It's a couple selling meat in this town and their son in his 20s. Cui Ezi, who was in her 50s, and her son helped her man Zhao Binyi in and shouted loudly. Zhao Binyi, who is in his 50s, is both shy and anxious, with a flushed face. Uncle Zhao, Aunt Cui. My dad went out to see someone, what's wrong with Uncle Zhao? Xiao Guogua quickly came up and asked. Ah. When can your father come back? Cui Ezi shouted eagerly, ignoring Xiao Guogua's question. I don't know, I'll give you a call, Xiao Guogua said and quickly called her father. After getting through the phone, her father said it would take over an hour to get back. Ah. It'll take over an hour. What should I do? Cui Ezi exclaimed urgently. Can't you wait to go to the town clinic first? Xiao Guogua said. What's the use of going there? The most capable doctor has been transferred, and the rest only knows how to get injections and infusions. Cui Ezi said angrily. What's wrong with this old man? Li Maoyang also leaned in and asked. We can only wait for your father. Oh, let's help my old Zhao go to your clinic and lie down first. Cui Ezi didn't answer Li Maoyang's words and anxiously said to Xiao Guogua. The clinic of the Qiao family is next to the pharmacy. Xiao Guogua quickly went over and opened the door. Cui Ezi and her son helped her man Zhao Binyi inside and lay down on a hospital bed. What's wrong with the old man? Li Maoyang asked again. Oh my, I can't pee and have been holding it for a whole day. I'm almost suffocating, so I didn't say it earlier if I can't pee. It's really not working. Cui Ezi said in a rough and atmospheric voice. Upon hearing this, Li Maoyang's eyes lit up. His master had shown people this disease, and he was present at the time. Later, his master explained to him that only when liver qi is sparse, lung qi is reduced, temperament is smooth, kidney qi is sufficient, bladder gasification is normal, and bowel movements are normal. If the second person is abnormal, we need to find problems in these places. Why can't you urinate? Are you feeling frustrated? Li Maoyang asked. He first looks for problems with liver qi. Liver qi is most easily influenced by emotions. The liver is like a receiver, and whenever a person has any emotional problems, it will first manifest in it. Liver depression and qi stagnation are mostly caused by emotional issues. Feeling angry? No. Cui Ezi looked at Li Maoyang in surprise and denied it. But her son knew the severity and quickly scratched his head, saying, I had an argument with my dad the other day. Is my dad's illness still related to the argument? Of course, when a person breathes a breath, their entire body is supported and operated by various qi. The liver is also responsible for relieving stress, managing the entire body's qi system. Arguments have caused problems with the liver's qi supply. It should have allowed the qi to drive urine away, but now it has instead allowed the qi to hold on to urine and prevent it from leaving. Isn't that why urine can't come out? Besides, I think your father should have prostate enlargement. That thing happens to be blocking the bladder opening. Once that thing grows, it will also block urine. When these two aspects are combined, won't it be impossible to urinate? Li Maoyang spoke confidently. Seeking investment, collecting, and obtaining tickets. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Welcome to Li Maoyang if you are sick. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Welcome to Li Maoyang if you are sick. Patient Zhao Binyi's son Zhao Runsua scratched his head. Although he couldn't understand what Li Maoyang was saying, he felt some sense of reason and asked, so how should my father treat this disease? It's easy to cure. I know acupuncture and moxibustion, Li Maoyang said. Acupuncture and moxibustion once. 300. After he finished speaking, he saw Qiao Guogua staring at him blankly. On one hand, this girl may be surprised that he dares to take on this job, and on the other hand, she may also be surprised that he is asking too high a price. But Li Maoyang now has his own confidence and ideas. He was diagnosed correctly just now, and the Qi Huang system helped him deduce the acupuncture plan he proposed and made an affirmation. So he's just so confident now. As for his asking price, if you don't ask for a higher price, they won't trust him. In addition, Li Maoyang has different ideas from his master in terms of fees. He believes that traditional Chinese medicine technology is quite valuable and cannot be afraid to ask for a price, let alone ashamed to ask for a price. Master has quite advanced medical skills, but he has been living in this small place and has been poor for a lifetime. Even his children and grandchildren disdain to inherit his medical skills. Li Maoyang studied medicine and relied on it to make a living. He also wanted to pass it on to future generations, so he must become a wealthy traditional Chinese medicine practitioner. Okay. As long as you can cure my dad. Zhao Runsua gritted his teeth. Look at how his father is holding himself back now, let alone Li Maoyang asking for 300, 500 is fine. Hey, can you really treat this disease? Don't ruin my old Zhao. Cui Ezi asked suspiciously as she looked at Li Maoyang, who was too young and had no doctor-like appearance all over. If it's cured, I'll compensate your old Zhao for his life. A small and delicate needle that pricks your arm, legs, and feet can cure your old Zhao. Li Maoyang glared and said, if you don't let anyone treat him again, what will happen if your old Zhao is suffocated? Cui Ezi stopped speaking as soon as she heard it. Her feeling was that there shouldn't be any problem with needling her arms and legs. Qiao Guogua, borrow your needle bag. Li Maoyang said to Xiao Guoguo. Xiao Guoguo was stunned for a while and went to find her needle bag. Although she didn't believe that Li Maoyang could really cure the patient, she felt that if Li Maoyang only injected on the patient's arms and legs, she shouldn't have hurt the patient either. She is now a sophomore in the clinical department. There are not many acupuncture and moxibustion classes arranged. She has not learned much about the side effects of acupuncture and moxibustion. She has not learned how to cure a man into impotence and a pregnant woman into miscarriage by acupuncturing only on her legs and feet. Moreover, too much acupuncture can also hurt qi, so acupuncture and moxibustion has not only positive effects but also side effects. Xiao Guoguo brings Li Maoyang her needle bag, which she usually uses to practice acupuncture and moxibustion at school, and a small bottle of alcohol cotton ball, and whispers to Li Maoyang, "Be careful." Li Maoyang grinned and said, "You college students only know how to learn theory all day long, and you dare not even treat your illness. I don't know when you will learn how to treat and save people." Xiao Guoguo glared at him with hatred and remained silent. This guy has a lot of courage, it depends on whether he can cure the patient. Li Maoyang didn't say much anymore. He opened Xiao Guoguo's delicate needle bag and took out the needle, starting to disinfect and prepare for injection. To treat the condition of urinary obstruction caused by liver depression and qi stagnation, it is necessary to urgently relieve liver depression and regulate the flow of water. In this situation, acupuncture has the fastest effect. For acupoint selection, there are generally two groups. One group is for soothing the liver and relieving depression, including acupoints such as Qigmen, Taichung, Yanglingquan, Zhigo, Neiguan, etc., a set of acupoints that regulate the flow of qi in the bladder, including Zusanli, Sanyinjiu, Shenshu, Weizhong, Qingshan, etc. Because he is not trusted yet, he doesn't need to take acupoints on upper body parts such as Qi-men and Shenshu. He only needs to take acupoints on his arms and legs. The system has already calculated for him just now, and this is also possible. After disinfecting a needle, Li Maoyang began to needle Zhao Binyi. He first pricked the Taichung acupoint on Zhao Binyi's foot, which is the original acupoint of the foot Juyin liver meridian and can clear the entire liver meridian's qi and blood. He held Zhao Binyi's foot with one hand and pinched the needle with the other. Xiao Guoguo helped him disinfect the second needle while watching him administer the needle. Seeing this guy holding the needle without blinking or shaking his hands, he also felt a little admiration in his heart. She has pricked herself with needles on her hands and feet, but has not tried on anyone else. It feels like it really requires a bit of courage. On the other hand, Li Maoyang seems to be completely fearless of anything, and when he takes the needle, his whole body suddenly seems to have changed, even his temperament. He has changed his usual carefree demeanor, and his whole body is filled with a calm and firm temperament. He really has a doctor-like appearance. After inserting the first needle, Li Maoyang used a light insertion and quick lifting method combined with a twisting and twisting method to release the evil energy from the liver meridian. After a while of lifting, inserting, and twisting, he felt a deep and tight feeling in his hand's needle, which represented that the needle was getting angry. He then gently scraped the needle a few times, which meant that the evil energy in the liver meridian continued to spread out. Then he left the needle and continued to start the following needle movements. After only a dozen or so minutes, Zhao Binyi, who was lying in bed with a muffled voice, suddenly shouted, "Oh no, no, no. What's wrong, Lao Zhao?" Cui Ezi was frightened and quickly asked the man. "I'm going to pee," Li Maoyang said as he began to take the needle. He took a needle, and on one side, Xiao Guoguo helped him massage the area where the needle was inserted with an alcohol cotton ball, but there was no bleeding in any area. Needles need to be inserted into the gaps between bones, muscles, blood vessels, and nerves, and if inserted correctly, there will be no bleeding. Li Maoyang had just finished taking the needle when Zhao Binyi got up and ran outside. Cui Ezi was worried about her husband, so she quickly followed him out. However, her husband turned around and scolded him, "I need to pee, what are you doing with me?" Cui Ezi could only stand and look at her husband from a distance, and indeed saw him urinating in a nearby corner. Holding it too fast, her husband couldn't care about finding the restroom. After urinating, Zhao Binyi didn't have the face to come back to the clinic. He waved at his wife and said, "You go in and settle the bill for them." Cui Ezi walked into the clinic and said to Li Maoyang, "Oh my, I'm really bothering you, little doctor. My old Zhao has urinated. What's your name, little doctor?" Li Maoyang, from Duku village, Li Maoyang said. "Ah, can the treatment fee be reduced a bit?" Cui Ezi smiled. "Oh my mom, don't bargain anymore, it's only a matter of 300. Zhao Ruansua couldn't hold his face anymore. "There's no such thing as this. After the person is cured, he actually sets a price with them." After saying that, he was afraid of his mother saying more, so he took out his mobile phone and added Li Maoyang's WeChat, and sent Li Maoyang 2 red envelopes. "One 200, one 100, take a look," he said to Li Maoyang after sending the red envelope. Li Maoyang waved his hand and smiled, "No need to look, no need to look. I can trust you. Welcome to come to me if you are sick in the future." Li Maoyang from Duku village. Zhao Ruansua reluctantly waved his hand and pulled his mother away. I thought to myself that Li Maoyang is also a careless guy. How could he send out such an invitation and curse someone for being sick? End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Is not inferior to the time I went to college. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 is not inferior to the time I went to college. Cui Ezi, who loves to shout, was pulled away by her son, and the clinic fell silent for a while. Not bad. Xiao Guogua looked at Li Maoyang and muttered, "Oh my medicine." She hurriedly ran to the neighboring pharmacy, and Li Maoyang also followed her to the pharmacy. There was a burnt smell in the pharmacy, and sure enough, the medicine was boiled to a pulp. Unfortunately, Xiao Guogua quickly turned off the induction cooker and ran into a small door at the corner of the pharmacy to fetch water. Her house lives in the yard behind the pharmacy. Li Maoyang stood still, watching Xiao Guogua run around like a moth. He thought to himself that this girl was already lively enough. Just as he was about to see what medicine she had boiled, an electronic sound came to his mind. Considering that the host has basically cured a disease for the first time, reward the host agent with 1 diagnosis. First time. Last year, Li Maoyang cured several minor illnesses such as colds. However, since the system entered, he has indeed cured a single illness for the first time. Hi. No, how can we say that this system is basically cured? By the way, it should be said that the patient Zhao Binyi still needs to continue to soothe the liver and relieve depression, regulate qi flow, and his prostate hyperplasia also needs to be treated. With this in mind, Li Maoyang sent a WeChat message to Zhao Ruansua, indicating that his father still needs to continue treatment. As for whether he listens or not, it's up to him, and if he needs treatment, he will probably seek help from his senior brother Xiao Chunwang. He doesn't need to worry about this matter. It is this system that rewards him with a proxy diagnosis, which can give him a chance to pretend. Make good use of this opportunity. Li Maoyang thought this way and lowered his head to examine the herbs boiled from Xiao Guogua. After looking and sniffing, I recognized Huangqi, Guizhi, Qishao, Dangue tail, Jishuetang, and Taoren, but I couldn't recognize any other medicinal herbs. Looking at these few herbs alone, are they medicines for tonifying qi, promoting blood circulation, and unblocking collaterals? What's wrong with that girl Xiao Guogua? Li Maoyang carefully recalled and pondered on how he saw Xiao Guogua today. Suddenly, he remembered that when Xiao Guogua handed him a needle bag, he felt that her finger joints seemed to be a bit swollen. Rheumatoid arthritis. Or rheumatoid arthritis. Li Maoyang first thought of these 2 possibilities. Just to rule out, rheumatoid arthritis generally occurs in middle-aged women, and it can occur in all age groups. And Xiao Guogua is only 20 years old this year, so the likelihood of rheumatoid arthritis is higher. Qiao Chunwang and his wife treat this Qiao Guoguo like a pearl in their palms. If she suffers from rheumatoid arthritis, they naturally do not want her to continue her studies at school and will have to take a year off. Because if it is rheumatoid arthritis, although joint deformities are generally not left as a sequelae, some severe patients may lead to visceral dysfunction, causing diseases such as rheumatic heart disease. Li Maoyang thought this way and heard Qiao Chunwang's wife Zhang Shumei nagging about Qiao Guoguo's carelessness in the backyard of the pharmacy. Then he saw the two of them enter from the small door in the corner of the pharmacy, one in front of the other. Li Maoyang felt a bit embarrassed when he met Zhang Shumei, because he usually called him senior brother Qiao Chunwang. Zhang Shumei was naturally called sister.in.law, but since Qiao Guoguo was also here today, he couldn't even call her sister.in.law. It was not appropriate to abruptly change the name to auntie or auntie, so I could only vaguely greet Zhang Shumei and say, "Yes, I'm here to buy some medicine." "Hi, I happened to encounter a patient who was cured with guoguo, but it ended up causing guoguo to boil the medicine." This is equivalent to explaining for Qiao Guoguo. Can you too still cure a patient? It's not just bragging, is it? Zhang Shumei and Li Maoyang were also familiar with each other and sneered incredulously. "Not me, but he cured acupuncture and moxibustion, and they gave him 300 yuan, Qiao Guoguo said. "Oh, you still earn 300 yuan. You came to my clinic and earned 300 yuan. Shouldn't you also share some of it with me?" Zhang Shumei joked to Li Maoyang. "Okay, take out your phone and I'll send you a red envelope," Li Maoyang smiled. He knew that Zhang Shumei would just tease him. This woman's character is quite good, and the Qiao family lives a decent life in this town. I won't argue with him about this. What exactly is Guoguo's problem? Is it rheumatoid arthritis? Li Maoyang asked again. That's the problem, it's quite troublesome, so I'll let her take a year off first, said Zhang Shumei. How did you know? Qiao Guoguo looked at Li Maoyang in surprise and asked. Guess what, your face is a bit pale, your finger joints are a bit swollen, and the herbs you've boiled are all for tonifying qi, promoting blood circulation, and unblocking collaterals. Can't you guess based on these? Oh, you've made progress. I thought you asked Guoguo about it. Zhang Shumei exclaimed in surprise. That's right, actually I just don't miss studying, otherwise I could have gotten a bachelor's degree if I studied hard. However, it doesn't matter if I didn't get into college. Now that I have taken the path of mentorship, I have already obtained a medical qualification certificate. It's not inferior to going to college that time. Li Maoyang glanced at Qiao Guoguo and said this to him. He felt that this girl had looked down on him before. That's true, Zhang Shumei said. But in my heart, I thought to myself that college students can earn a living and go to the hospital to work. Can you? However, she naturally wouldn't have hit Li Maoyang so hard. Later, Li Maoyang chatted with Zhang Shumei's mother and daughter for a while, then quickly bought medicine and rushed back to Duke village. Kikij and her mother.in.law were still waiting for his medicine in the village. When he arrived at Kikij's house and put down the medicine, Li Maoyang gave Kikij detailed instructions on how to boil medicine and other matters, and then returned to his clinic. The clinic that he inherited from his master is mostly located in the center of the village, which is an independent building. Behind the house is a small patch of jujube grove, and in front of the house is nearly an acre of irrigated land, which was used by his master to grow herbs during his lifetime. The other houses in the village are also 200 to 300 meters away from here, and the land here is sparsely populated, making it normal for a village to live sparsely. His clinic has a total of 3 rooms, which can be considered the largest visible property his master has earned in the world. One is considered a pharmacy, one is considered a consultation room, and the other is for residents. When he took over the inheritance of his master, he spent over 100,000 yuan on his family, but it made his parents feel heartbroken. He felt like he was wasting money, and now he keeps nagging him about it all day. Don't fail to study medicine and waste your money on getting married. Li Maoyang didn't like to go home too much because of this. After buying his master's industry, he stayed in this clinic these days besides going home to eat. He swore to his parents that he would learn a good way. He is the only child of his parents, and not working hard is not enough. Not to mention his own family and career, in the future, his parents will all rely on him for retirement. He can't learn medicine and doesn't love farming. How can the family live? So now Li Maoyang is determined to forge a path in traditional Chinese medicine even if he sets his sights on it. I am very grateful for the reward from my book friend Nej. Thank you very much for the monthly pass given by the book friend with the ending number 2728. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. How can a commoner nurture my noble and righteous spirit? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. How can a commoner nurture my noble and righteous spirit? In the afternoon, Li Maoyang studied in the clinic all afternoon. He studied ancient Chinese medicine of circular movement. Today he boasted about both Zhang Shumei and her daughter Niu. If he couldn't make a name for herself on the path of studying medicine, she would lose face. Therefore, Li Maoyang worked even harder to study medicine. He didn't rush back to eat until almost 6 o'clock when he received a call from his mother. His home is only 400 to 500 meters away from the clinic, and it's not far. It only takes a few minutes to walk back. My mom made pickled pork ribs and stewed dry beans today, it's very delicious. It's just that his parents always nag him and make him feel a bit annoyed. According to reports, his father Li Jianguo and his mother Lu Chuiyi are only 40.5 or 6 years old, but they have become nagging since they first saw him. His father Li Jianguo speaks a little less, and his mother Lu Chuiyi has to nag for a long time even when she sees that his hair is not smooth, which is really nerve-wracking. Today his mother was nagging him, and his father finally couldn't bear it anymore. Alright, you should be quiet, Maoyang. Let me tell you something. Uncle Bai wants you to help his family plant wheat for a few days. Do you think you can take care of it? I can't afford it, Li Maoyang retorted. He just finished planting his wheat with his father, and hasn't rested for a few days yet. Let him help the Bai family farm. Why? Just because Bai Zhanshan has an unmarried daughter. This old man Bai Zhanshan is really clever. He always uses his daughter to coax others at a cheap price. His daughter is currently studying beauty in the county town, and her eyes are so high that she doesn't know who she wants to find. Can she listen to Bai Zhanshan's words? Besides, Li Maoyang still doesn't like his daughter Bai Jinfeng at home. She's a clumsy student and can make do with her appearance. She's 2 or 3 levels behind Xiaoguoguo's, so Li Maoyang doesn't need to be a licking dog. You, at least not to mention it, Bai Jinfeng and you are still classmates in elementary school, so you can't go help them for a few days. Dad said to Li Maoyang with resentment. She has never helped our family, even Platinum Phoenix, Li Maoyang said with a crooked head. She's a woman. What's wrong with the woman? Dad, don't think so much. If your son and I learn medicine, I won't worry about not finding a partner. If I don't learn medicine, even if you chase and lick others, it won't work. The truth is like this, but always hoping for a bigger help. It's not a big deal, it's not a big deal at all. Dad, don't just daydream. Just watch your son improve day by day and watch others chase after and send off his daughter. Li Maoyang boasted shamelessly. Hi, you stubborn, don't regret it in the future. Li Jianguo said helplessly before changing the topic. When you go to the clinic later, please pull up your dog at home. We'll set up a nest for the dog tomorrow and keep it there. What are you doing? Black Tiger is doing well here, Li Maoyang said in surprise. Don't worry about why, just do what you're told to do. Dad was unhappy. Li Maoyang tilted his head for a moment and understood. His father felt that the clinic was a bit lonely, and his master had just passed away. He was afraid that something unclean might disturb him. I really think about it too much. However, it doesn't matter. If you walk back and forth in the future, remember to feed the dog, and he won't make any further noise. After finishing his meal, under the threatening gaze of his mother who was about to nag, Li Maoyang pulled Black Tiger and left. In fact, after running with him for a while, Black Tiger understood where he was going with it and ran ahead with his ears perked up. When he arrived at the clinic, Li Maoyang was afraid that the Black Tiger would blow cold all night. He started by building a simple dog house and then started building a civil structure dog house tomorrow. It's good to have a Black Tiger here. In the past, when my master was growing medicinal herbs here, there would always be people secretly digging up some. With this dog, there might not be anyone daring to steal and dig medicinal herbs. In addition, this year Li Maoyang only plans to plant astragalus membranaceus and goji berries on less than an acre of land in front of the clinic. These two medicinal herbs are perennial herbs that are easy to care for, and he doesn't need to plant them much anymore. He just needs to replenish some seedlings. There is no need to plant other medicinal herbs anymore, such as licorice, ginger, dodder seeds, etc. Just purchase a little from others. Licorice, a wild medicinal herb, has been mostly excavated in the Yellow River coastal areas, and if we need to obtain some, we can only purchase it from specialized growers. There are also some medicinal herbs that have not been planted by anyone, but they are very useful, such as the kidney tonifying lok yang, the white dragon wearing color for treating women's blood gas disease, as well as bitter vegetables, plantain, mugwort and other medicinal herbs. You can only dig a little by yourself in the summer or late autumn when you have time. I dare not do too much. If I do too much, someone will investigate. Moreover, although Li Maoyang currently has a medical qualification certificate, he does not have a drug trading license, and he has not learned his own medical skills. To make the clinic bigger, he can only take his time. After setting up a temporary dog house and tying up the Black Tiger, Li Maoyang rested for a while and began to grit his teeth to read the Yellow Emperor's Inner Canon. The book was really difficult to understand, and he could only read it word by word. He couldn't even read a little every day. But at least he has read this book twice. But it can only be said to be reading, not reading, and can only be roughly understood by combining annotations. He also read Treatise on Cold Damage and Miscellaneous Diseases, Classic of Materia Medica of Shen Nong, Difficult Classic, Synopsis of the Golden Chamber, Differentiation of Warm Disease Treatises, and Ancient Chinese Medicine of Circular Movement, with great difficulty, and could only grit his head and read bit by bit. Apart from Treatise on Cold Damage and Miscellaneous Diseases, and Ancient Chinese Medicine of Circular Movement, he hasn't even read half of the other books since he bought them. As for the teaching materials of college Chinese medicine students, such as Introduction to Medicine, Internal Medicine of Traditional Chinese Medicine, Diagnostics of Traditional Chinese Medicine, Traditional Chinese Medicine, Prescriptions, Gynecology in Pediatrics, Acupuncture and Moxibustion, he was able to understand some, but the contents were too complicated to remember much. Another thing is that he bought some video tutorials to follow and learn. With so much content, it's overwhelming to learn. Fortunately, Li Maoyang has already obtained a medical qualification certificate, so he no longer needs to memorize like before the exam. Now he only needs to slowly understand and learn bit by bit. Most of the time, he spends most of his time thinking on his own, and sometimes what he thinks on his own surprisingly aligns with the thoughts of his predecessors. This made him quite proud. Confucius said, "Learning without thinking is useless, thinking without learning is perilous, and faith is also." In addition, it is necessary to combine theory with practice. Li Maoyang has done a good job in this area. Sometimes when he encounters a patient who is confused, he quickly turns to the book to find relevant content to read carefully. Therefore, when he talks about treating people, he often sells what he has learned. Now he wakes up at around 4 o'clock every morning and goes for a run to exercise, practicing Tai Chi for a while, and sometimes pretending to be a Taoist meditating and breathing. This should not be considered as a form of cultivation, at best it can only be a way of health preservation, but he has developed some sense of qi to some extent. Reading, practicing medicine, and farming, Li Maoyang sometimes feels like the children of ancient aristocratic families who cultivated and studied. Those people are probably similar to his current situation, right? Farming and studying, sometimes I also give people the opportunity to check my pulse and see a doctor, even a blind dog can recognize the stars. How can I cultivate my noble and righteous spirit? Sometimes, Li Maoyang feels that his lifestyle is outdated and can be on par with ancient sages. Seeking investment, collecting, and tickets. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Great Dr. Sincerity. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Great Dr. Sincerity. The next morning at 8 o'clock, Li Duanyang went to see Kikij's mother. In law. Batel came back and saw him carrying a medicine box. He stood tall in the yard and laughed at him. Why did you pretend to be a doctor? Don't look down on my mother. You can't stop looking down on labor costs. This Barthel is 27 years old this year, and he used to love drinking and fighting in his early years. It wasn't until he married Kikij that he finally changed his temper. However, his personality is still rough, and sometimes he turns his eyes at first glance. You bastard, if you don't appreciate the labor management treating your mother, it's okay. Why did you act so recklessly? Li Maoyang is not used to his bad temper either. He will venture into the rivers and lakes in this area in the future. It's not good to be scared by such a foolish young man. This Bartel is just slightly more bold than him, he is not afraid. Bartel heard him disobey his authority and took a step forward to grab his arm. Li Maoyang slapped his hand open, put down the medicine box with one hand and leaned against the wall. Then, as he rushed up, Barthel was like a sweeping leg, sweeping Barthel to the ground with a bang. Batel got up and threw himself at him again, grabbing his shoulder with both hands to wrestle with him. This was a Mongolian skill, but Li Maoyang didn't care. His long training in boxing was not in vain. With a cunning move, he managed to break free and grabbed Batel's arm with a small grapple. Then, with a clever move and a trip, Batel knelt down on the ground and said, Nima, dare you dare not let your mother come out and beat you. At this time, Kikij and her mother. In law heard the noise in the yard, and rushed out. Bartel's his mother came up and slapped Bartel. Li Maoyang quickly released Bartel. Then I heard that Bartel was scolded by his mother in Mongolian. Li Maoyang observed the old woman and found that she was in better spirit today. Kikij also burst into tears, hating that Bartel's old habits had recurred, and that Bartel had been treated like a villain both inside and outside. He glared at Li Maoyang with hatred and got on his motorcycle, not knowing where he had gone. Batel his mother and Kikij apologized to Li Maoyang again, and Li Maoyang waved. Don't care too much, Batel is just playing with me. Then Li Maoyang checked and diagnosed Bartel's mother again. Of course, pulse and tongue examinations were still mostly pretending. Well, from this point of view, Bartel didn't wrongly scold him. However, overall it seems that the old lady is indeed stronger than yesterday. The effect is not more effective, let's take a few more doses like this. Li Duanyang dropped this sentence and declined Kikij's invitation to stay for dinner. He picked up the medicine box and returned to the clinic. Butler stood in front of his clinic. Why, are you still not convinced? Li Maoyang smiled, you're really not a match for labor and capital. Labor and capital have just changed their temperament and don't like to play around with people. Batel tilted his eyes at Li Maoyang and said, when did your kid become so powerful? Li Maoyang picked up a slightly crispy brick with a smile and snapped it with a snap, saying, labor and management have their own skills. They're just playing with you at your house. If we really want to start a fight, there aren't many people in this area who can withstand labor and management's punches and kicks. Bader was indeed suppressed by Li Maoyang and said, do you have qigong? That's needless to say, it's just that I don't dare to use it in my daily life. It's all from the villagers, causing trouble, Li Maoyang said sarcastically. Can you teach me? Bartle envied. I can't teach you, your child has become a family, and Yuanyang has also let go. How could you still practice this qigong? Besides, what are you doing with this? With your personality, you want to break people and go to jail. Li Maoyang blustered half-truthfully. Have a drink today. Bartle said, come to my place to have a drink. No, I'm running out of time now. Li Maoyang shook his head, alright, go back and comfort your mother and daughter. In law well. They're all grown up now and still love to move around. This is the era of hard thinking, not the era of hard fighting. The real ability is to earn more money. After a series of threats and persuasions, Bartle was finally sent away. Li Maoyang began to build a dog's nest with mud again, and even small matters like Bartle would not be on his mind. This place is like this, and some young people are even more fierce and brave. Li Maoyang himself is also a young man with strong blood and vitality, and he is not afraid of anyone. Otherwise, since learning traditional Chinese medicine, he has been deeply influenced by ancient culture. When encountering someone like Bartle, it is possible for a person's mind to have a dog's mind. A significant impact of studying traditional Chinese medicine on him was that it made his temperament much more calm. Now, in the eyes of outsiders, although there was still some casualness in his movements, he was already much better than before. By noon, Li Duanyang had built his dog house. After lunch and lunch break, he was about to start studying when someone invited him to see a doctor. He is Han Sangzi, an amateur carpenter in the village. His mother is 64 years old and suffered from a stroke and hemiplegia 2 years ago. She went to many large hospitals but didn't take good care of her. When she returned to the village, Li Maoyang's master Jingdake had just shown some improvement, but Jingdake's family passed away. Later, Han Sangzi invited Xiao Chunwang from the town to come and see him several times, but there was no improvement. Han Sangzi gave up. So now Han Sangzi comes to invite Li Maoyang to see his mother. In fact, he is trying his best to coax his mother in the world's eyes, which means that his dutiful son has not given up his mother. In the same village, how could Li Maoyang not understand Han Sangzi's thoughts? Yu Dao is a person who has been ill for a long time and has no filial son before bedtime. In fact, this cannot be blamed on Han Sangzi. After all, a family with elderly and young people has to live, right? Han Sangzi really doesn't have the money or time to go around and ask doctors to treat his mother. But Han Sangzi can come to invite Li Maoyang with a coping mindset, but Li Maoyang cannot go to see Han Sangzi's mother with a coping mindset. Nowadays, there are very few people who come to invite Li Maoyang for medical treatment, almost as he cannot even invite Li Maoyang to the patient's door. Secondly, Li Maoyang remembered the words, great doctor Sincerity, taught by his master Jingdake. A doctor must always empathize with patients and wholeheartedly relieve their pain, otherwise they cannot become a good doctor. Facing a doctor who is numb and indifferent to patients like that, even if their medical skills can be improved to a certain point after years of practice, if they are not sincere in their medical heart, cannot empathize with patients, and cannot focus solely on relieving their pain, then their medical skills cannot improve even if they reach a certain point. Because if you cannot empathize with the patient and focus solely on relieving their pain, then you cannot have a deep understanding of the patient's situation, nor can you spare no effort in thinking about how to treat the patient, and how can you accurately diagnose and treat the patient. Over time, your medical skills can only improve to a mediocre level, and you can no longer improve. This is a very objective situation, and Li Maoyang has a thorough understanding of it. Therefore, a great doctor must be sincere. He is prepared to practice the teachings of his master Jingdake for a lifetime. I am very grateful to my book friend for getting tired and drinking green tea as a complimentary monthly pass. Seeking collection, investment, and tickets. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. My master asked me to come and see you through a dream. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. My master asked me to come and see you through a dream. Li Maoyang followed Han Sangzi to his house with a medicine box on his back. As soon as he entered the room where his mother was sleeping, he was almost smoked and vomited out. The smell of feces and sweat mixed together is really unpleasant. Li Maoyang didn't wear a mask again, his nose was fumigating him, it really made his organs churn. But Li Maoyang still endured it. As a doctor, this hurdle must be overcome, especially when facing a paralyzed patient who has completely lost their ability to take care of themselves. This situation is also quite common. Because patients are unable to take care of their own urination and defecation, and they defecate in bed. Nowadays, when it's cold and chilly in spring, they can't often open the window for ventilation. Isn't that how it has become? Han Mama was lying on the kong with her face facing the door. When she saw her son leading Li Maoyang in, her face turned black. She suffered a stroke and suffered from hemiplegia, but her mind was not confused. Seeing that her son was just hiring a young disciple from Jingde who was not an ordinary student, she naturally guessed her son's thoughts, which were to deceive her. Auntie. Li Maoyang greeted Han Mama. Han's mother ignored him. Li Maoyang is not angry either. As an elderly person who has lost his ability to take care of himself, is there anything he can argue with her about? He placed the medicine box in a corner of the kong and carefully examined the situation inside the room as well as Han's mother's condition. Although it's a bit late spring now, it's also spring, far less cold than winter. However, there is still a big stove burning inside, making the whole house warm. However, Han's mother is still covered in a thick blanket, which shows how afraid she is of the cold. Yang deficiency is severe. Yin and Yang are mutually rooted, and if Yang deficiency persists for a long time, it will inevitably begin to be Yin deficiency. So, Han Mama must be experiencing Yin and Yang deficiency now, with weak qi and blood. Her face turned pale and she looked suffocated. You can also see at a glance how weak her qi and blood are from this. Li Maoyang looked around and sat next to Han Mama, saying, "Auntie, I'll set up a pulse for you." Then, regardless of whether Han Mama was willing or not, he placed the pulse pillow next to her and was about to go get her left arm when he saw her glaring at him fiercely. Li Maoyang was momentarily stunned. How could he even hate him? Is this patient's mood suitable for him to communicate with her? How should we consult later? Auntie, Han Gu invited me to come and see you for treatment. I actually don't want to come because I also feel like I can't cure Auntie's illness. But who made me have a strange dream last night? Li Maoyang was stunned for a moment, his eyes rolled and he let out a sigh. Upon hearing what he said, Han's mother was somewhat captivated by his words and looked at him steadily. Auntie, I dreamt about my master last night and he is still thinking about your illness. He instructed me to come today to help him diagnose you, and then when I was sleeping and dreaming at night, he told him that he would ask me to write a prescription and maybe he could cure you all at once. So I dare not come, who can say for sure about things in this world? What if my master really finds a prescription to cure you there? I can't delay you either, can I? Li Maoyang is a person who has been used to playing tricks since he was young. He played tricks on his teachers, his parents, and his classmates, which is like a ghost in the blink of an eye. He didn't improve his academic performance while studying, but when it comes to playing tricks, he said he was second in the class, so no one dares to say he was first. However, Han's mother only knew that he was a bit mischievous, but she didn't know that he was still a liar. In addition, she was too eager to remember and trusted Jing Dake's medical skills, so she was temporarily intimidated by Li Maoyang's words. Older people in rural areas have always been superstitious. The deceased sometimes entrust their dreams to the living. Young people don't believe it, but they do. Really? Han Mama asked as she stared closely at Li Maoyang, her eyes starting to sparkle. If it weren't for Li Maoyang's firm belief in his master's upright style, he would have doubted whether these two people had any special stories. Really, Auntie, look at you. How dare I make fun of my master? Aren't you afraid that my master will come to me at night to settle accounts? Li Maoyang said without blinking his eyes. These eyes, accustomed to lying, have also been tested for a long time. You little brat, don't deceive aunt. Han Mama said truthfully again. Hi, auntie, look at you. I'm not even mischievous for a little doll when I'm so old. Can I still be mischievous for you, auntie? Li Maoyang insisted without blinking his eyes. Han Mama stopped talking, but her eyes started blinking and blinking, and tears streamed down her face. This really confused Li Maoyang. Maybe. Han Sangzi's father died early. I seem to have discovered the unethical side of the old master, in those moonlit nights, in those fields and corners, in those green curtains, in those unknown corners. At that time, the old man's master was still strong, and Han's mother was also young, perhaps very beautiful. Li Maoyang dared not think about it anymore. If he continued to think about it, he would also be filled with emotions for the old master, which would affect his objective and calm diagnosis of Han Ma's condition. Well, calm down for 1 second, serious for 3 hours. Li Maoyang gently pulled out Han Mama's left arm from the bed. At this moment, Han Mama's face softened. Her left arm was limp and weak, and she was completely paralyzed and unable to move. 3 fingers were about to press on the bone before reaching the pulse. The pulse is dull and weak. This obvious pulse can still be judged by Li Maoyang. For those who have a deep pulse, the pulse position is low and deep. Light tapping should not be pointed out, and heavy pressing is the only way to obtain it. The Maoyang says. If the sinking pulse is insufficient, there is more than enough to press it. This is because the pathogenic factors of the disease are stagnant in the interior, and the qi and blood are trapped inside, resulting in a heavy pulse. So the sinking meridian governs the internal syndrome. Chenmai and Fumai are exactly opposite. Fumai is the main manifestation. The sinking pulse is divided into strong pulse and weak pulse. If the pulse is deep and strong, it is internal evidence. If the pulse is heavy and weak, it is the internal deficiency syndrome. Han Mama's pulse is dull and weak, which is due to weak organs, insufficient qi and blood, and weak pulse agitation. Therefore, Han Mama's condition belongs to the syndrome of internal deficiency. After Li Maoyang made such a judgment, the mechanical sound of the Qi Huang system came to his mind. The host's pulse diagnosis is basically correct, and you will receive a reward for the system's 1-time deduction of medication results. Considering that the host's learning attitude has reached a passing level during this period, this system opens up a new reward mode to the host. Combining the reward received by the host yesterday for diagnosing a patient's condition on behalf of the system, it can be merged into a reward for the system to develop a treatment plan on behalf of the host. May I ask if the host wants to merge the 2 rewards into 1 reward? After hearing the mechanical sound, Li Maoyang immediately said, merge. Now he won't be able to treat Han Mama's serious condition, he just needs the help of this Qi Huang system. At the same time, he muttered to himself that the Qi Huang system also had this reward regulation. As long as the host's learning attitude reached a certain level, it would open up a new reward mode to the host. This regulation is good. From now on, as long as he treats the patient's minor illness once, the system can reward him for diagnosing the patient's condition on his behalf. If the diagnosis is correct again, the system can merge it into a reward for developing treatment plans for the patient on his behalf. This is great. Please continue with the diagnosis below. This system will assist the host in formulating a treatment plan for the patient after completing all diagnoses, said the mechanical voice. I am very grateful for the high reward from my book friend Gogo. Seeking investment, collecting, and tickets. End of this chapter.